stuff. So this week, I heard this story about a lady that was driving behind somebody in traffic. So picture this person downtown Austin. And somebody in front of her was not going fast enough. The people on either side were not going to where she could zip around. And there was words, colorful words. There was gestures, not so kind gestures. And lo and behold, she gets pulled over. And she ends up getting arrested. And the lady said, "Sir, why are you arresting me?" She's like, "I was just following in traffic. I wasn't breaking any laws." And he said, "Well, ma'am, judging from your bumper stickers of 'Follow me to Sunday school,' 'What would Jesus do?' and the ichthus emblem on the back, I thought for sure by your gestures and your language that you had stolen the car." And so it brings me to think about spirituality, religion. What's the difference? Because I'm sure this lady probably spiritual and religious and was just having a human moment. I've done it. And so we're going to get a little curious about what this all means for us. What is spirituality? What is religion? Is there a difference? And so, y'all know me, I like to get a little nerdy sometimes, so I looked up some statistics. 70% of the people that were surveyed say they are spiritual in some kind of way. And of those 70%, 22% say they're spiritual but not religious. That's a pretty significant amount, I would think. And so in a different survey, 48% are spiritual and religious. 10% are religious but not spiritual. I sat with that one for a minute because I was like, I think truth be told, it might be a little higher. 21% are neither spiritual nor religious. And so my source for this, because I forgot to put it in the slides, is Pew Research Center and the Pew Charitable Trusts. So can you be spiritual or religious and never, ever, ever step your foot into a place of worship? Yes, you can. I'm glad I see some heads nodding. But for me, life may be a little bit more rich if you found a faith community or a like-minded group of people that fostered that spiritual journey of yours. Because just because you never step into a place of worship doesn't mean you're not on a spiritual journey, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Can you be spiritual but not religious at all? I say yes. It's not a pop quiz, y'all. You can have a different opinion. It's okay. So breathe. This is not a test. But we create our own experience. So if you didn't grow up or were in a community that was a religion, so to speak, you probably grew up around, at some point in time, love. And love may have formed how you spiritually move in this world. So I'm not trying to make a differentiate or one thing is right and one thing is wrong. I am sharing aspects of either one of them to help us on our spiritual journey. So it is how the divine is approached, and it determines our depth of awareness. I'm hoping my notes are matching my slides. So far, they are. So, yeah, you should see this roadmap up here. It's So spirituality is the practice of your beliefs. These are definitions by the Dictionary of Leslie, by the way, but this is my understanding. Religion is organized structure of specific beliefs, most of the time, but not always, requires one to conform to a structured set of beliefs. And I say not always because unity in particular has no dogma. We have no set of beliefs that you have to believe. And it's believed so much so that for me as a minister, I am required to create my own credo. It's my credo. I'm not going to impose my own credo on you. And we have that same respect here. However, we are a progressive Christian community, so we follow Jesus as our way shower, as our example to live those spiritual practices that he taught us. And so it caused me also to ponder with religion, because there's so much that is blown out of proportion. That's the best, yes. As far as assumptions that we may make about religion or certain religions, that people may make assumptions that religion is bad. And so I was like, and it can be, and it cannot be. And so I was brought to my recollection in class of the law of spiral dynamics and where we all fit in this. And I'm like, I think religion, since it was created by humans, probably mirrors that human tendency. So when we're at our lowest level of our spiral dynamics, we tend to only focus on the human self. We are in survival mode. So sometimes survival mode may mean you're just doing what you can to get by. You don't even want to think about God right now. Like, I'm just trying to live. And when you move up one level, there may be religious war, eliminating beliefs that are different than your own. When you move up another level, you're not eliminating the other religion, but you might be seeing other religions as wrong. When you move up the next level, you have the dogma, the conformity, as the only way. When you move up another level, you have evangelism, not in the, the going out and bringing people in, not the traditional, what we describe as evangelism. It results in focus on that you can lose sight of spiritual practices. And then you move up another level and you have church, family, community, belonging, inclusiveness. And then you move up another level and you have focus on spiritual growth, living your spiritual practices. And then when you move up another level, you're interconnected. You recognize the oneness. Community is happening beyond the institution. So beyond the walls of this building, beyond the walls of any denomination. And it's interesting because as humans, we spiral up and we spiral down. As faith communities, we spiral up and we spiral down. We may want to go, oh, we are that blue, we're blue, we're blue. Bring it back in. We strive to be, and we're not always. But that is how it is with our human experience when we're tapping into that divine nature that we have. We're not always perfect. And it's okay. And it's okay to experience things that you're going through life and you're like, oh, that was a judgment thought that I was having, and why? So we move up and down. The translation on this is my interpretation of how the spiral would merge with religion. So it's another Leslie thing, I got the spiral from a source, but not how I relate religion to it. So I also started looking at this kind of metaphysically. And I looked at truthunity.net, the great abyss that I go to where I can spend way too much time. And it gives the revealing word on spirituality. So the revealing word is the book of all Charles Fillmore's definitions of random things, mostly nouns, in this book. So spirituality is the consciousness that relates man directly to his Father, Mother, God. He said Father God, but we're up a couple rungs since then. Father, Mother, God. It is quickened and grows through prayer and other forms of religious thought and worship. Religion, according to him, is the systematic exposition on the awareness of a deity who is the supreme ruler of heaven and earth, that which arouses reverence and love for a supreme being. And so while I was thinking about those things, and I was looking back at stories of Jesus and what he talked about, it was one that came to mind because we tend to sometimes be overly religious. And so one of the scriptures that came to mind was, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you whitewash the tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within they are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanliness. Even so, you are outwardly appear righteous to men, but within you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness." And I like that it's challenging not the belief system itself, but how the belief system is used. Because Jesus practiced his faith of Judaism. But he saw perhaps there was not some alignment with that union of God and what we've created as religion. And so when Jesus is operating from a higher level, he would challenge the practice of the dogma, not particularly the dogma itself. And I was thinking one of the ways that we could be overly pious would be today if I stood up and said, "Oh, you can't sing the song that was just sung before my talk because it's not the same as ours, not the same as our faith journey." That would be overly pious because I can very well sit in that spiritual moment of that song and totally connect with the divine for me. It practices the oneness with a deep understanding of our oneness with God. And our Wayshower can lead us in this example. And so when we're metaphysically looking at the scribes, it is our worldly thoughts. When you're looking at the Pharisees, it's looking at literalism. It has to be only this way. And then I look at my world, my journey, and what I'm doing, and I contemplate, are my worldly thoughts interfering with my spiritual journey? Do I get too much into the religion aspect of it that I forget the spirituality of it? And so I have some questions for you guys. I'm so glad I started out with a joke because this is really heady talk, and that's usually not my style. But when people come up to me and ask me about unity, and they're like, "I'm spiritual but not religious, would I would fit in?" I think yes. And so I ask for us this week, because I usually give you little things to do during the week for a little bit of digging. Are there areas where you are overly pious? Pious with a P, not bias with a B. Although you can look at that too, because there's always work to do there for everybody. And the next question for you is, in what ways are you living spiritually? What ways are you practicing the spiritual part of your religious journey? So it could be that you take time for meditation. You take time for prayer. You sing. Singing is very much part of my spiritual journey. It could be that you do art as your expression of what God is inspiring you to create. But I think anytime that you find that you're connected with God in your everyday doings, you're living your spiritual journey. Whether you're crunching the numbers on the spreadsheet and praying that everything balances, or you're trying to design a building that may have never been designed before, or you're a doctor and you're looking for a way that this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working, but divine inspiration may kick in and lead you to the solution. In our everyday living, our spirituality, based and bringing out of our religion, whatever religion it is for you, makes that connection and that oneness with the divine a very awesome synergy. So I encourage you to ponder those two questions. And in case you didn't write them down, are there areas that you're overly pious? And in what ways are you living spiritually? Yes. And with that, we usually close our talks with an affirmation. I am closing this one with our year-long affirmation. I may change it. I may do this every Sunday for the next 50 Sundays. And what we do is we'll say this once, we'll say it 2 more times. We get more enthusiastic the more we say it. In God's infinite abundance, I co-create and transform. In God's infinite abundance, I co-create and transform. In God's infinite abundance, I co-create and transform. Thank you. Shine on, y'all.